Here we are, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the Bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers. It's the second ever live edition. I'm like drooling all over myself here of the Bullpen with Adam the Bull. I'm excited to be on with you. I'm excited to be live. We're going to try something on today's podcast that we've never done before. As many of you know, before starting the podcast here we're approaching the year anniversary of the podcast. And before joining the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, I was a radio man for many, many years, 20 years, over 20 years. And on the radio, you take a lot of phone calls. And I've spoken to many of you over the years since I came to Cleveland in 2011. But since starting the podcast, and since starting on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, the only interaction I've had with you guys, the fans, has been through Twitter, or occasionally we've been out there. You see somebody in the supermarket, or we've done a couple of remote broadcasts. But I'm not able to interact with you one-on-one from a talking or well, in this case, we'll be seeing each other, and this is really cool. So I'm excited to try this. We're going to have three fans that are going to come on. They're going to get a chance to give their thoughts on the big game this Saturday, which we'll be talking about leading up to that. They'll get to ask questions. And if everything goes well today, as we go on, we're going to do more live podcasts and give more fans an opportunity to join me live on YouTube, get their minutes of fame on the air. You get your face on the air, and all the fans will be watching, and it's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Get extra value this football season with Bet Rivers Squares. Win up to $10,000 in bonus money. Bet $10 in same-game parlays on any game with the Squares icon to earn a square. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I would very much appreciate that. And now I'm playing my own podcast. That's not a good idea. So if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. I guess if you don't like it, you can give me a thumbs down, but I'd appreciate if you gave the thumbs up. We have the chat going. I'm going to try to keep an eye on it. Got two guys helping me today, producing the show. Brian Monzo, Max Gotro. Max, did I screw up your name? I don't know. Text me if I screwed up your name. I can't remember. I haven't said your last name in a while. But you can put messages in the chat, and I will try to answer as many questions as I possibly can. A lot to get to in terms of the big game, now just under 48 hours away. But again, tell everybody, join us live. Here we go. Okay. Hello, everybody. People saying hi in the chat room. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. We'll get to the listeners, the fans. Will join us in a little bit. The big news of the day came down after practice. A couple of hours ago, we learned that Browns cornerback Denzel Ward had injured his knee in practice. All Kevin Stefanski said after practice, just around 1 o'clock today, was that he is questionable for the game. There was not much detail. We know Kevin Stefanski plays everything close to the vest, and so didn't really know what to make of it. And so it was concerning, certainly when you heard that news. When the Browns played the two games earlier in the season against Seattle and the Rams without Denzel Ward, the defense struggled mightily. They got torched, frankly. Denzel Ward, besides Myles Garrett, is the most important player on this Browns defense. Everybody watching this podcast, everybody listening, you know it. You know how important Denzel Ward is to this team. So the fact that he could potentially not play was scary. Fortunately, Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network tweeted just a couple of hours ago that, in fact, according to his reporting, Denzel Ward is okay. That he did injure his knee in practice, but apparently it's not a big deal. Now, this is huge. We don't know for sure. Ian Rappaport's not in the locker room. It's not the coach talking. So who knows? Until we see Denzel Ward out there, or unless Kevin Stefanski says something to confirm it, which is unlikely. Because if I'm Kevin Stefanski at this point, why not have the Texans thinking there's a chance Denzel Ward won't play? Because remember, the Browns play man defense more than any team in the league. They are a predominantly man defense. And because they're in man so often, it frees them up to use safeties, to use slot corners, to use linebackers, to get in on the blitz. Now, the Browns have the ability to get to the quarterback, especially against an offensive line in Houston that's not great. But they have the ability to get quarterback with just their front four. And outside of Maurice Hurst, who was out for the year about 2 months ago, they're completely healthy on the defensive line. Everybody's ready to go. Agbo Okoronkwo was back. He played a little bit last week. He's ready to go as their third end. But obviously they use him a lot. Myles Garrett may not be 100% off that shoulder injury, 6 weeks ago, but he's back to playing at a pretty high level. Maybe not his highest level, but at a pretty high level. Everybody else up front is ready to go. You're without Anthony Walker. Grant Delpit will not play in this game. He was designated to return from the IR, but the Browns announced today that he's out for the game. So we won't see him out there. Juan Thornhill is questionable. And so you have a couple of guys out. But overall, the Browns are very healthy on the defensive side of the ball and are in good shape. And so getting Denzel Ward, the fact that Denzel Ward seems like, again, we don't know, seems like he's likely to play is a huge deal because we know you're facing C.J. Stroud. It has been phenomenal. He didn't play when the Browns played the Texans. He has been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this year. He's the best quarterback the Browns have faced probably since they played Matthew Stafford. That was a while ago. But what we know about C.J. Stroud in his rookie season is that he has struggled when he's been under pressure. Hasn't thrown any picks, which is amazing, and kudos to him. But his efficiency is not good. And his PFF grade under pressure is, I believe, the fifth or sixth worst of any quarterback. Where he's not under pressure, when he's got a clean pocket, he may be the best quarterback in football, which is mind-blowing for a rookie. So Denzel Ward playing at a high level allows you to do so many more things in terms of pressure and blitzing. And in terms of playing man defense. With Denzel Ward out there, you're going to be in man a lot more than you're going to be in zone. You're also, as I said, able to blitz more, which leads likely to more pressure. And Stroud, not as good under pressure. Stroud, not as good against man. So Denzel Ward is at worst the fourth most important player on the Browns. Behind Flacco, who could have believed I would be saying that 2 months ago, Myles Garrett, Amari Cooper. I mean, Denzel Ward's right there. As important as anybody. Again, we saw how they struggled against the Rams and Seahawks without him. They need him. So hopefully he's going to be okay. Hopefully Ian Rappaport's reporting is accurate. And that would be huge. As for the Texans, you look at their injury report, their entire defensive line, in fact, their top 5 defensive linemen all missed practice on Tuesday and Wednesday. Actually, their defensive tackles got into limited practice yesterday. But today, they all practiced except for Jerry Hughes. Jerry Hughes, the veteran, used to be on Buffalo. He's their third end. He is out for the game. But their starting defensive linemen, Will Anderson and Jonathan Grenard on the outside. Remember, when the Browns played the Texans the first time, Anderson, the very good rookie, did not play. He's been banged up, has been in and out of games, hasn't played as much in recent weeks when he's been back. And Jonathan Grenard, who's kind of come out of nowhere this year, he's dealing with an ankle injury, same as Anderson. Grenard got hurt against the Browns the last time they played. Now, they both got in limited practices today. They're both listed as questionable for the game. When a guy's listed as questionable, unless there's a setback, I'm always going to assume the guy's going to play when it's the playoffs. If it's a regular season, different story. Both of their defensive tackles, Malik Collins and Sheldon Rankins, those guys are both questionable as well. Same for Robert Woods, who got in a couple limited practices. And surprisingly, Noah Brown, who did not play last week and did not practice the last 2 days, he got in a limited practice today. He is questionable, as is their fullback, Andrew Beck, who I believe scored a touchdown in that game last week for them. He's dealing with a calf injury. So overall, only player that's out for the Texans for sure is Jerry Hughes. The players that are out for the Browns are Dustin Hopkins. Cedric Tillman is out. He got the concussion last week. And Grant Delpit is out. He was not activated from injured reserve. Hopefully, if the Browns can win, he'll be ready to go next week. We're going to bring in about 4 minutes, we're going to bring in the first ever fan live on the podcast to join me, get their opinion on the game, and ask whatever question they want. And so we'll get to the first fan in just a moment. But I know a lot of you are watching live. You have questions to ask. So let's get to it. Do you guys have questions ready for me? Should I be looking at the thing? We got a couple of comments here. Okay. Let's see. Sting tweets, Ward is worthless. What? Are you out of your mind? I know he's been hurt a lot. He's missed some games every year. But to call Denzel Ward worthless is stupid, Sting. That's ridiculous. RDY70 also ripping him. Calling him Mr. Glass. That's lame. Let's see. Wargasm tweets, Houston is healthy now. Shout out to, I know we probably got some Texans fans that are out there. That's fine. Houston is healthy now. Will not be the same team Cleveland played last time. Houston takes this one 27-16. Now, I don't think Houston's going to win 27-16, but of course it's not the same team. Forget the defensive injuries. The Texans didn't have that. To me, that game is meaningless. TJ, he did not. CJ Stroud did not play in the first game. That's all that matters. So that, in terms of what the Browns did defensively, it's a totally different story. Now, in terms of what they did offensively, yes, Grenard and Anderson weren't there. They probably will be this week. It doesn't change at all the fact that the Texans don't have a good secondary. They're much better against the run. Michael Lucas tweets, Bull, why do you hate McNuggets? I don't know why people think, yeah, I know. I am losing my mind. I couldn't think of CJ for a second. I'm old. Once in a while I have a brain fart. I don't hate you, McNuggets. You know that. But fans ask that all the time. I don't hate anybody on our show. Elliot Cole, we need Ward. Yeah, you darn right you do. Let's see. Terrell Glenn, if we struggle on the road, why did they play extremely well? I didn't say the Browns struggle. The Browns' record is not as good on the road. But I don't think they're I'm not worried about it. I think it was coincidence. Denzel Ward happened to miss 2 games. And so I think that was more coincidence than the reality of the season. Oh, so somebody else said the Browns struggle on the road. He's a Texans fan. Listen, you guys want to trash talk each other, that's fine. TPIJP, Bull, one quick baseball question. Is the Ohtani contract worth it from a winning side? Olsen, Altuve, Ramirez, Wheeler combined less than Ohtani. I realize I'm cherry picking, but the MLB is not the NBA. Listen, you're worth what anybody is willing to pay you. That's how I feel like. And I'm not going to rip the Dodgers for spending money. I'm going to rip the Guardians and the A's and all these other cheap teams, the Rays, that don't spend money. If the Guardians had a legitimate payroll, not talking Dodgers, I'm saying if they had $150 million payroll, which is entirely possible, but they've conned fans into believing it's not, how good would they be with as good a front office as the Guardians have? If they had $150 million payroll, the team would be amazing. But unfortunately, they don't do that. They haven't done that, and that's too bad. Off the bench with Ian Lasardo. Ian Lasardo is my nephew. He's 14 years old. You can check out his podcast, Off the Bench. 14-year-old podcaster, big sports fan. Super Bowl prediction as of right now. right now, today, if I had to predict, I'd say it's going to be the Bills and the Niners. But I think that the Browns have a legitimate shot to get to the Super Bowl. I think the Ravens, Bills, Browns, Chiefs, and even the Texans, because if the Texans could beat the Browns, they could beat anybody. I think there's 5 teams that could legitimately win the Super Bowl in the AFC. I don't buy the Dolphins. I don't buy the Steelers. In the NFC, I'll be surprised if anybody beats the Niners. But if I had to pick somebody, I guess I'd go with the Cowboys, although I obviously don't trust them in the playoffs. I like the Lions. The Bucks look, I don't buy the Bucks. I don't buy the Eagles the way they're playing. And who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting one of the NFC teams. The Rams. I'll give them an outside shot. All right. Do we have our first caller, our first ever viewer, fan to join the podcast live? Hopefully this will become a regular thing. My good buddy JN and Menor. Here he is. Look at this.
Happy New Year, bud.
Happy New Year to you, John. I've known John for a long time. He's been a fan forever. One of the original members of the Animal House Twitter Animal House. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Animal House Twitter potty. I'm losing my
Twitter
mind.
Potty.
I am losing my mind. I don't know what's going on with me, John. I'm reaching old age like you, man. I'm losing it. Animal House Twitter posse.
You're still a young pup.
That's true. All right, John, how you feeling about the game this weekend? You confident?
Yeah, it's one of the things that if you've been around sports, whether you played it or a good fan, you talk about the quote unquote it factor. You can't describe it. A player has it. A team has it, and an organization has it. They have the it factor. Can you tell me what it is? No, but they have it. And that's why, even though they're talking about CJ Stroud, and he's going to be an excellent quarterback, I honestly think that this will be a good game. The Browns will take care of business. And now, I hate to say this, I'm hoping the Steelers win and the Dolphins too, so we can get a home playoff game.
Well, that's an unlikely scenario, but it would be a fantastic scenario. You're right. If the Dolphins and Steelers both win, the Browns would host the Dolphins next weekend, and the Steelers would go to Baltimore.
That would be absolutely amazing.
Oh, my gosh. That would be the best case scenario. And then you need the Steelers to beat the Ravens, because then the Browns would host the Steelers, or assuming they beat the Dolphins, then the Browns could host the Steelers in the AFC Championship game.
And this town would go absolutely nuts if that ever happened.
Can you imagine if the Browns play the Steelers for the right to go to the Super Bowl? I mean, I can't. This town would be on fire. It would be crazy, John.
I'd have to take a couple weeks off just to get ready for it, as far as that goes.
All right, man. So you got a what's your question? What's the question of the day?
All right. Yeah. My hatred. Or first of all, my passion about baseball.
Sure.
And my hatred for the Cubs.
Well, only because of 2016. You didn't have a hatred before then, right?
Okay, I'll give you that. Yeah. But since 2016, now it's even worse. Can you tell me why?
Because Yan Gomes is the Cubs catcher?
No.
Because
come on.
Why is it not coming to me? Because Mike Napoli is the Cubs coaching staff?
No.
Craig
Counsell is their new manager.
Oh, you don't like Craig Counsell? He's a great manager.
What did he do to my team in 97?
God, how did I not think about that?
Yeah,
It's been a long time, but okay. Yeah, I get it.
Yes.
I did not think about that.
And then when his name popped up as a possible manager for the Guardians, at a 35-year season ticket holder, now in my 7th year working for the organization, that would have driven me absolutely nuts. But now I can really emphasize my hatred for the Cubs.
Fair enough, John. Great to see you, buddy. We're gonna let you go. Get home safe, will you?
Thanks, bud. Take care. Thanks.
All right. That was J.N. and Menor. Good to chat with him. That's our first. I keep wanting to say caller because for 20 years I was saying caller, but we'll just say fan. Our Vidier. I'm just making up words today with my brain freeze. All right, we go from John. Now I've known John forever. Our next guest, our next viewer, our next fan is someone that I've gotten to know more recently since joining the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. He's got the T-shirt in the background with all. Eddie asked us, this is Eddie. Eddie, I can't remember what town you're from. What town are you from, Eddie? Oh, Eddie, you're on mute. We got to unmute you. Can we unmute Eddie? Hopefully we can get him in here. Can't hear Eddie. All right. Maybe we'll put Eddie back on hold. We'll see if we can figure it out. By the way, we can't hear you, unfortunately. I will take Eddie out. We'll try to get him back in. We're 1 for 1. We may be 1 for 2. We'll see. By the way, something we were talking about earlier today. By the way, check out, if you go to the Bet River Sportsbook, Bet River Sportsbook is awesome. The latest line, the Browns are down to a 2-point favorite. In fact, let me look at it again. Yeah, it's 2 points. The Browns opened as a 2.5-point favorite. It went to 3, and then it went back down to 2.5. And today it went down to 2. I wonder if it changed from 2.5 to 2 because of the Denzel Ward news. Although I'm going to take the Browns either way because I do think they're going to win, but I love it under 3. And right now at 2, it's great because I feel like they're going to win by 3-4 points. I do think it's going to be a close game. Love it at -2. If you want to bet it on the bet them without the spread, they're -136. All right, we're going to try. Let's try Axel in South Euclid. There he is, another veteran fan.
How you doing, sir?
Good to see you, my friend. I haven't seen you in forever.
I know, it's been a long time.
So go ahead.
I was just going to say, not even in South Euclid anymore.
You're not?
City now. No.
Where are you now?
Streetsboro.
That's hoity-toity.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a nice place. It's a nice place to live. For sure.
So, Axel, I know you're a crazy diehard Browns fan. You have to be enjoying this, maybe the bizarrest season in the history of the Browns.
It's so odd. It's so odd just from the start, from the beginning of last year, as we all know why. And then coming into this season, we think we've got the quarterback and he can't stay on the field. And then we're going through, it feels like 500 quarterbacks until we finally land on the most improbable quarterback that we could have ever thought of.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing weirder would have been Ben Roethlisberger.
That's what I was just going to say.
And that would have been absolutely horrible. I didn't have the hatred for Flacco I did for Big Ben. But yeah, I mean, it's quite a ride. It's amazing. I've got, everyone's got plans for Saturday. I just can't wait for it.
And the only thing, I mean, as great as the season is, if somehow the Browns won a Super Bowl, I even hesitate to say it, but if somehow they won a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco, would be the craziest thing in the history, maybe in the history of the NFL.
It would be unreal because not only that, I think you're going to have to go through Baltimore to do it. And the storyline, you can't even script that. Yeah, it's not even a Hollywood script. Really.
Well, think about the intensity. Assuming that's the game next week, which I think it probably will be because I think Miami and Pittsburgh are probably both going to lose. You never know. But if the Browns go to Baltimore, I can't even imagine this is so weird to say because Axel used to call me on the radio all the time. And forever, since I've been covering this team, and you've been following the team longer than I've been covering it, but forever, the Browns were since they've been back in 99 until now, they have been a soft-ass team, right? Like, they have been so soft. You never think of them as tough. You never think of them as physical. You think of the Steelers that way. You think of the Ravens that way. And the Browns have gone from being a consistently soft, wimpy team to as tough, physical, badass a team as you can find. And so are the Ravens. They're the two badassest teams in the league right now, I think. Yeah, and so the two of them, they both won one game this season. The two of them playing in the playoffs for the right to go to the AFC Championship game, the franchise that was stolen from Cleveland, Joe Flacco against his former team. the pressure on Lamar Jackson, and I think there'd be a lot of pressure on Lamar Jackson because he only has one playoff win. There's no pressure on Joe Flacco, but the crowd, because there'd be Browns fans there too. It'll probably be cold. I can't even. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but that would just be incredible.
I think the pressure with Lamar starts in the divisional round. I think he has to immediately prove that he can do it. I know he's won one game, but you're the number one seed now. Everyone's expecting you to make the Super Bowl.
That's right.
The pressure starts right away.
Especially because they've been head and shoulders the best team in the league.
Yeah.
For most of the season.
I think the AFC winner wins the Super Bowl. I don't, it doesn't matter to me. I know San Francisco is the team to beat in the NFC, but for some reason, I just feel like whoever's winning in the AFC is going to win the Super Bowl.
I probably lean your way. I do think San Francisco. If it's anybody but San Francisco, I think they're going to be a heavy favorite in the AFC.
Yeah,
but we'll see. All right, Axel, great stuff as always. You got a question?
This is probably an oddball question. Yeah. I know your fan affiliations. If you had to follow a New York, New Jersey team, which one would it be?
Well, the only team I like from New York, New Jersey is St. John's basketball. Now, I never really talk about it because they were great when I was a kid, and college basketball was big in New York when I was a kid in the 80s, and Big East basketball in the 80s was huge. I mean, outside of baseball, it was like 2A and B with the NFL for me when I was a young kid. And then over the years, college basketball has lost popularity, and St. John's has been terrible, but they got Rick Pitino now, and they're playing pretty well. They'll probably be ranked for the first time after they beat Providence yesterday. So that would be the team I follow the most. My man Monzo, who's one of my two producers for this, he's a big New York Rangers fan. If I had to say my favorite hockey team, it's probably the Rangers. I don't really care that much.
Yeah.
I hope they win for his sake because that's the only team he gives a rat's ass about. I hate the New York baseball teams. I hate the New York football teams. I hate the New York basketball teams. I hate them all. I only like St. John's. I tolerate the Rangers. I'm fine with the Rangers because I don't really care about hockey that much. But the other six, I hate. I respect the Yankees as a franchise. I respect, not recently, but the Giants overall as a franchise. The other four are terrible franchises, and I hate them all. So there you go.
I love it. It's amazing to hear a New Yorker actually say that. I love it. I absolutely love it.
It's so crazy. All right, buddy.
Take care.
See you, Axel. All right, we'll take Axel. Guys, can we get Eddie back, or are we out of luck? I don't know if we have any chance. If we can bring back Eddie. All right, we'll see if we can bring back Eddie. For now, are we gonna try one more time or no? If for now though, I got to give my picks. I'm gonna give my picks, and then after I do my picks, we will see if we can try to bring back Eddie, and we'll check it out. All right. I'll end with the Browns and Texans. Let's go. I'm going to go in reverse order of how they're being played. Let's go to Monday Night Football. This is the worst game of Super Wildcard Weekend. I hate both of I shouldn't say I hate. I say I hate both these teams, meaning I just don't think either of them are any good. The Eagles have completely shit the bed for the last, 6 weeks? They've been a mess. But in their defense, they've mostly, not last week against the Giants, but they've mostly played great teams. And the Buccaneers are not a great team. The Buccaneers, on the other hand, they are 1-6 against playoff teams. Baker Mayfield had a nice season. I would vote him second for comeback player, probably third, I think, for comeback player of the year at this point. And he's at home. But he's banged up as well, and we know Baker never plays well banged up. He was awful last week. If they had played anybody else but Carolina, they probably would not have made the playoffs. They won 9-0. It's hard to pick this game because I'm not comfortable with either team right now. But as bad as the Eagles have played down the stretch, I just can't see them losing. A team that went to the Super Bowl last year and played so great for the first 2/3 of the season, I just can't see them losing to Tampa Bay. If they were playing another team, maybe, but not, and they'll lose next week probably. But I'm taking the Eagles on the road. I'm laying the 3 points. The Sunday night game, the Rams and the Lions. This is a great one. Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff. They were traded for each other. Now they're playing against each other. Stafford won a Super Bowl for the Rams. Goff has been tremendous. These guys have both been they're two quarterbacks that have played very well this year. Goff has done a nice job in Detroit the last 2 seasons. Stafford, who won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. Last year, he was hurt. He didn't play well. People thought he was done. He's not. I think he is the comeback player of the year. I would vote for him just because he's played longer than Flacco this year. The Lions are at home, but Sam Laporte is banged up. I'm not sure if he's going to play. And in the end, I think these teams are close, and I trust Sean McVay. I love Dan Campbell's energy. I love his ability to just go for it all the time, but I think his emotion gets the best of him at times, and it's going to happen in the playoffs. The inexperienced Lions, I think, lose this game. I like the Rams +3 in the Sunday nighter. Okay, Sunday at 4:30. We got the Packers at the Cowboys. Packers have not been good in the playoffs in recent years. The Cowboys, we know their recent history with Jerry Jones. Jimmy Johnson built a great championship team. They were a dynasty. And since then, they have been awful in the playoffs. The Cowboys are at home. Jordan Love is not a rookie, but he's playing for the first time. Now, he's playing great football. The Cowboys have been a little more spotty down the stretch. The Cowboys have not played well against playoff teams, but they've played great at home. I think this game is going to be close. I think the Cowboys are going to win, but I don't think they're going to win by more than 7. So I think it's a 3-4 point game. I'll take Jordan Love to keep it close. I'll take the Packers +7. Sunday at 1 o'clock. The Buffalo Bills are at home to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bills are a 10-point favorite at the Sunday 1 o'clock game. The Bills are one of the hottest teams, along with the Browns and the Ravens, playing great football down the stretch. The Bills are a team that none of the AFC teams wanted to see make the playoffs. What's amazing is they could have been eliminated the final week of the season. Instead, they're the number 2 seed, which is crazy. The Steelers, I got to stop picking them to be under 500. I've done it 3 years in a row. I've been wrong 3 years in a row. They've done a remarkable job, and the great Gazoo, Mason Rudolph, has played well down the stretch. But you're stepping up in class here. You're playing the Buffalo Bills. The game's on the road. You don't have TJ Watt. Don't love laying 10 points, but ultimately, I think the Bills will win by 10-14. I'll take the chance on the 10. I can see it being a 7-point game, possibly, but I don't want to have to hope that the Steelers keep it close. And in the end, I think the Bills will cover. They'll definitely win. I'll lay the 10 with Buffalo Sunday at 1 o'clock. Now we go to Saturday. Browns and Texans coming up. But first, the Saturday night game, exclusively on Peacock. The Dolphins and the Chiefs. Chiefs are a 4.5-point favorite. If this game was in Miami, I might think about it differently. I don't like what Miami did down the stretch. They, like the Cowboys, feel like a fishy playoff team in terms of not being able to beat good teams. They lost to Buffalo last week with a chance to clinch the division. It is going to be record-breaking cold in Kansas City. Now, it's going to be 0 temperature, wind chills in the -30s. I get it. Even if you're a cold weather team like Kansas City, nobody's comfortable playing in that weather. And Miami can run the ball. We know they're good at running the ball. But Raheem Mostert's been banged up. They've lost one of their best pass rushers for the year in a meaningless moment in a game where they were getting blown out. Kansas City's been a huge disappointment on offense. Patrick Mahomes has been a fantasy football bust. But this is not fantasy. This is reality. The Chiefs, the playoffs, they know how to win, especially at home. The Chiefs will win this game in this brutal temperature. They'll cover. I got them winning by 7. Final game. And the first game. As I do this live, in 47 hours, the Browns and Texans will kick off in Houston. Now, when they played a few weeks ago, obviously the Texans did not have C.J. Stroud. They went with the veteran Case Keenum. And the Browns kicked their ass. They kicked their ass because the Texans were unable to do anything offensively. Defensively, the Texans struggled as well. Part of that because their two best outside rushers were both hurt. One was hurt and didn't play the game. The other was hurt within the game, and the Browns just ran roughshod over them. The Texans' offense will obviously be better in this game because C.J. Stroud is an excellent quarterback and Case Keenum's just a guy. Their defense should be a little better in this game because they should be, with their defensive linemen, most of them playing, be able to get at least some level of pressure on Joe Flacco. However, in the end, the Browns' offensive line in the passing game has done a very good job the last few weeks as they've gotten consistency playing together. And they have no answers, the Texans, that is, for Amari Cooper. They also have no answers for David Njoku. The Browns killed him through the air. Joe Flacco is playing like a man who's going to it's like he's been told he's got a month to live, and he's going to live for that month. That's how he's playing. There's no fear. There's nothing to lose. And the Texans are just not good enough defensively. And while the Texans offense clearly will be better than it was before, and C.J. Stroud, love the guy, excellent quarterback, great career. I would not be surprised if he won a Super Bowl somewhere along the line. And if somehow the Texans win this game, I think you win a Super Bowl this year, potentially. If you can beat the Browns defense, you can beat any defense. But there's a reason why rookie quarterbacks playing their first NFL playoff game against a quarterback who's not a rookie have a winning percentage under 33%. Even the good ones like C.J. Stroud. It's tough. It's a different level. It's different speed. Bernie Kosar talked about that on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show today. This game will not be easy. It will be a battle. And if Denzel Ward ultimately doesn't play, you're really going to be biting your fingernails. But in the end, the Browns get it done. 27-20. The Browns win by a touchdown. I'll lay the 2 points on the road. Those are the picks. All right, can we get Eddie back, or are we out of luck now? Are we done? All right. Folks, I appreciate everybody who joined me here live in the bullpen today. Thanks to everybody who was with us. I love you all. I really, really appreciate everyone joining me live. I know you're not used to doing that. If you have not done so already, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get alerts every time I put out a podcast. Please give a thumbs up and join me again. I thought this went well. We went 2 out of 3 on the video callers. Axel and Jay did a good job. Sorry, Eddie. I don't know what happened, but we'll try to get Eddie on another time. And we'll give you folks that didn't get a chance to get on an opportunity another time as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. Again, hit the subscribe button. If you want to hear more great sports talk, check out Behind the Glass from Mikey McNuggets and Earl and Anthony as part of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. They'll be coming on, I believe, at 6 o'clock, so that'll be great. And we'll obviously, as soon as the Browns game with the Texans ends, Saturday, 7:30, 8 o'clock, whenever it ends, I will be doing another podcast, not live Saturday, but I'll be putting out another podcast recapping the game, hopefully a happy recap. Thanks to Monzo and Max for producing. Thanks to all of you for watching. Thanks to all of you for sending your messages. I'm sorry if I did not get to your question or if I did not get to your message. I apologize. We'll do more next time. That's it. Hope you enjoyed this 40 minutes. We'll talk to you next time right here in the bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers. See you, everybody. Bye.